Bench Warriors!
Hello and welcome to Bench Warriors. As always, I am Josh. I just want to thank you, a huge shout out again, as always, for taking time out of your day to watch, to listen, however you're consuming this content. Please, on YouTube, don't forget to follow, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you can get alerted whenever we upload a new video, and please share our videos. It's really helping me out to get shares, get more likes, comments. I'll jump in the comments and have a conversation with you. I really appreciate it. Thank you for supporting the channel, supporting me. I know it took a month off, had some work things and some technical difficulties got to deal with, but we're back on track. Go. On this episode, I wanted to talk about the Denver Nuggets. Talk about the season so far, 11 games into the season, and how it's shaping out, and my thoughts on a handful of players, just kind of a few things that I've observed by watching the games so far in the season. And then we'll close it out with just a grand scheme of how I see this team going and heading and the season heading. And then I'll touch on a couple of teams that I think are really shaping up to be a challenge. So we'll start off. I think I'll start off with just my grand thoughts on the team so far. My theme for this heading into this season was I wanted to see how hungry the team was. And there are usually two types of, I won't say reactions, but kind of two thought processes that we see with teams after winning a championship. You either one where it's a team like the Dallas Mavericks with Dirk, where they come into a season and they're like, weight lifted off your chest or your shoulders, like we did it, we accomplished it. This was the culmination of multiple years, and we did it finally. And then you also get the opposite, where it's teams like the Golden State Warriors when they won their first championship in 2016, where it's like, hey, we did it. We can actually do that. Let's go do it again. And then that first championship was just the beginning of a run because you get that confidence. And it's like, hey, we know how to win, and we know how to win dirty. We know how to win, blowing out teams. We just have the confidence to that we know how to do it. And I think so far, 11 games into the season, the Nuggets look like the Warriors. That type of team where you saw from the beginning, you saw sprinkles of it with Nikola Jokic in the preseason, where it looked like Nikola Jokic was taking it on himself, and it was purposeful how much he was shooting. It looked like he was ready to dominate, have a dominant season. And I noticed this not just the preseason, but on ring night. So you have ring night, and you have the banner being lifted, and that whole celebration. You really saw Nikola Jokic show up, and he kind of got teary-eyed from when the banner was being lifted. And then a comment after the game from Jokic during the post-game press conference, where Jokic said he didn't realize how much the team and him affect people's lives playing basketball. And we saw that with the parade too, where I think in the post-game press conference after they won the finals, where he kind of didn't want to stay. He made the joke he didn't want to stay for the parade. But then during the parade and after, he said he loved it, and he loved the fans and the reaction, the whole celebration. He didn't want to leave. I think we saw winning the championship. Jokic was fine after 2 years of grinding it out, doing the dirty work, with Jamal Murray out, and just grinding through 2 seasons, and then you get to the playoffs and like, hey, yeah, at the end of the day, we're missing our second best player. Jokic's like, I'm missing my running mate. I really don't know how far we can go. And then you just get, you bow out in both seasons in bad fashion against the Suns and then against the Warriors. And it was kind of rough. And I think that's when we saw the fun side of Jokic leave, was during those 2 seasons where he felt like he had to grow or felt like he had to grow up and be an adult. And the fun kind of left out. Fun kind of left playing basketball. And then what we saw last year was, especially during the playoffs, it was like, this is the culmination of it. This is what we've been waiting on. We built our roster towards this, and then finally we're healthy and we're ready to go. Let's go do a job. And they did that through the postseason. And it felt like, we were, as Jamal Murray said, we were ready for this. This was 2 years in the making, or 2 years waiting, and then it was a few years in the making of building this roster with Michael Malone and Jokic, Jamal Murray, and Michael Jr., Aaron Gordon trade, everything. And then it finally felt like, okay, let's go to work. And now it seems like the fun has returned for Jokic. Jokic is joking again. He's having fun with it. He's smiling a lot. He's being much more open in the post-game press conference. I think it's just Jokic is able to have fun again. And I think that's where the confidence comes in. It's like you can have fun, and this team also knows, like, hey, we're pretty damn good. We just won a championship. We know how to win. We know how to win close games. We know how to win in blowouts. We just know, come winning time, we know how to do it. And that speaks into the Nuggets, where last year they had one of the best clutch defenses in the NBA. And then again this year, I think they have the number one clutch defense in the NBA. It's just this team is built with a bunch of winning players that know how to win in clutch time. And when the game gets close, they know how to close it out. I think that we saw that last year, and that's just even more so with that confidence championship. So I've been really impressed with Nikola Jokic, because it feels like the play we're getting out of Jokic and the determination is usually what we see at the end of the season and heading into the playoffs and then through the playoffs. Jokic is already averaging 30, 13, and 9. Just about those were the numbers this year. We're seeing playoff Jokic already 11 games through the season. We'll see how long he can keep this pace up, because he's playing great defense. He's working hard on defense already through 11 games. Like, this is a Jokic that looks like he wants it. He wants more. He wants to show how dominant of a player he can be, and he's having fun playing basketball. And you're seeing that, sprinkled down through the rest of the roster. Aaron Gordon looks just as good as ever, doing the dirty work for the Nuggets, being that super role player. I think without a doubt that's one of the most important trades in the last 10 years. And I think without a doubt he's the best role player. He's the most overqualified role player. And he's confident. He knows how to play within this offense and with this team. And that's just how the rest of the team does. Michael Porter's been very impressive, because Michael Porter's a player who was an amazing high school recruit, praised and hyped up, went to college, didn't go how it went, or how he wanted to, the injuries, then fell in the draft and got drafted. And then during the early part of his career, he dealt with injuries, and also he dealt with having to learn how to play basketball to get any kind of playing time. If he made mistakes, he did his playing time. And he really had a hard time getting started early. But then when he hit, he really hit. And then last year we saw it. He was in that circle of trust with the Nuggets. And then he won a championship. And it very much easily could have went the way of him saying, hey, I did what I needed to do. I played Jokic ball. I took a back seat to, players that are better than him, but he took the back seat. He was willing to be the third option, fourth option on some nights. Like, hey, it's time for me to get my own, or, get mine. But no, he came into the season. He's bought in again. He's doing exactly what he did last year. And he's he's carrying that improvement on defense that we saw last year into this year. He finally realized how big he was and his size, and that's helped out his defense so much. Um, he's really grown as a player and been really impressive, and it's awesome to see him buy in again. And he's been the one he's probably been the player that sacrificed, and it's really paid off. It helped them win a championship, and you don't always get that. You get players that say they just want to win, but they want to win their way or where they're getting their numbers. But MPJ is a player that he really just wants to win and is willing to do whatever the team needs. Jamal Murray so far this season, obviously he's been sidelined with the hamstring injury, but what we saw early on from him was just more of that evolution that he carried from the finals run and the championship run last year, where he became a playmaker. He was a scorer, an amazing scorer when the team needed him to be, and a clutch scorer. But he really wanted to. It seemed like his big focus in the postseason run and especially the finals was the playmaker, and he's really carried that into the season. He's improved so much in his passing and just playmaking, his court vision. It's been really incredible to watch so far in the games that I've seen of him. But I also have to give a huge shout out to Reggie Jackson. Was another one of those players where he played one way for so long in his career, and he's really shifted now as being the primary backup point guard, and now starting for Jamal Murray while the injuries sidelining him. He's morphed into a Jokic player too, and he has bought in, and he's been incredible this season, buying into the system, not taking those reckless shots, and just being the gunner that he was in his previous spots at OKC and the Clippers. He's really bought into the Jokic ball. That's been another player that's been really impressive this year, especially with him starting now in place of Jamal Murray. With the bench, the bench is a conversation, interesting conversation, because it's going to be an experiment that it's going to take the whole season to really evaluate, because how the bench is playing now, probably not how it's going to be playing in a month from now, and it's probably not going to be how it's playing at the end of the season. And it's just because it's a long NBA season. But I was really impressed with the bench early on. The defense and the switchability with Christian Brown, Zeke Naji, Peyton Watson, and Reggie Jackson coming off the bench. That bench is really long and big, just like the normal starting five. But then we saw Julian Strother in limited minutes, and he looks like another gem that the Calvin Booth found. Incredible shooter. He looks like much more than a shooter, which was his thing coming out of college into the draft. Was he's a 3-point. No, he's showing that he's a 3-level scorer. He looks great. We saw Pickett earlier. He looked really good as the primary backup to Reggie Jackson the last game against the he looks really good. He looked great in the last game against the Clippers. Now the thing with the bench was when Jamal Murray went out. We saw that Reggie Jackson had to move into the starting lineup, and then that kind of hurt the defense or the bench, because they're a primary defensive unit, which works great if you have a Michael Porter Jr. or Jamal Murray to stagger with that defense. But if you don't have an and Reggie Jackson to help the offense on that bench, when you don't have a primary offensive option on that bench unit, that's when it really starts to struggle. And then also removing Reggie Jackson and then inserting having stuff players since that bench unit, kind of switchability, which was the highlight of that bench unit. So I'm not going to knock the bench for how it's playing now, just because it's had to be shifted with the Jamal Murray injury. But I do think it's going to improve. Christian Brown's been incredible so far. He's been exactly what they hoped for. He's going to just keep getting better. He's been that great replacement for Bruce Brown. Peyton Watson, I think, has been really good. He was one of the question marks because with Jeff Green and Bruce Brown leaving, is going to leave a big hole on the bench because you assume Christian Brown was just going to slide in where Bruce Brown was. Payne Watson's been up and down, especially this offensive game. Obviously, he's not a finished product offense, but defensively, it seems like every game, Peyton Watson has at least one or two incredible blocks where you're just shocked that he was even able to get that ball. Defensively, he's been really good. The switch defense, the help defense, it's been great with Peyton Watson. The offensive side, and I think he gets too much where it's a gunner mentality occasionally. It's gonna be a work in progress with Peyton Watson. I think a big plus has been Zeke Naji off the bench. He's been great. His defense has been incredible. He's had some games where he's been fantastic rebounding as well, which was something he needed to improve on. I think overall, at the end of the season, the bench unit is going to be much improved. I think the bench unit will be better than it was last year. It's just going to take time. The Jamal Murray injury obviously is hurting the rotation and hurting that. But once they get their starting five back and help their core going, then you can really flesh out the core. Get back to the defense identity for that bench unit. My overall thoughts for the Denver Nuggets were coming into the season. I wanted to know how was Jokic going to look early. Was the team going to be tired from the playoff run? And then I wanted to see their mentality. It looks like they're early into the season, but they look like they haven't skipped a beat. It looks like they stopped playing basketball. That first game against the Lakers looked like they stopped playing basketball like a week before. They were on point. The passes were crisp. Like that chemistry, they didn't lose a single bit of that time off that they had. And then Jokic came in looking like he's gearing up for this dominant run and gonna coast to a third MVP. So far, it's looking like that. And then the Nuggets as a whole, they look like they have that confidence, and they look hungry, and they're ready to go for it. And that's the exciting part because they just won a championship. They have a mentality right now that's like they're not done. They want to go get more. And I think it's shaping up to be a great season. They easily the best team in the NBA right now. They look the best. They look that chemistry when Jamal Murray comes back. Right now, without Jamal Murray, they have the talent to win ugly, and I think that's where a lot of the games are going to be. They win. It's going to be ugly, like the game against the Clippers, where it was an ugly win. It's going to be a lot of that while Jamal Murray's out. But then when he comes back into the lineup, and you get that 2-man game with Jamal Murray going again, you get the full fleshed out bench unit with the starting five. They look damn near unstoppable. And they're the best team in the NBA. Nikola Jokic is without a doubt the best player in the NBA. And I think that it's shaping up to be another run where the Nuggets are the best team coming out of the West. Now, kind of just with that in mind, with the Nuggets being the best team in the West, just a couple of, I want to touch on a few of the teams I think are shaping up to be the biggest challenges to the Nuggets. So I'll start in the East, where the 76ers trading James Harden and getting better. Tyrese Maxey taking that next leap. He looks like a superstar in the waiting. He's looked incredible this season. Joel Embiid clearly looks like the second best center in the NBA. He looks incredible. He looks like without a doubt, a top 5, top 6 player in the NBA. That team, what they were able to do trading James Harden, and then the ascension of Tyrese Maxey. 76ers look a lot better than I thought they would. I had them in a lower tier. I think I had them the third or fourth best team. They look neck and neck with the Celtics as the two best teams in the East. The Celtics look incredible. Kristaps Porzingis looks perfectly fit for that being a third option as opposed to a second or a first option on a team. He looks perfect for that third option. Again, the questions lie for the Celtics are they going to stay healthy? If the Celtics stay healthy, it's going to be them and the 76ers. How it's shaping up so far. It'll be those two at the end battling for the best team in the East and to represent the East in the finals. Now on the west side of things, the Timberwolves, the Timberwolves look incredible. Anthony Edwards, I said in a previous episode where Anthony Edwards looks like he was ready to take a leap to be a superstar, and he was on his road to being a top 5 player in the NBA. Anthony Edwards looks damn near close to being a top 5 player in the NBA. He looks incredible. He has that look in his eye where he's that killer mentality. It's been really fun to watch them. Rudy Gobert's back to his elite defense that we didn't see last year. Last year he looked really old and broken down. And we're back to seeing elite defensive player of the year, Rudy Gobert. The cat thing, it's still a mixed bag. I think at the end of the day, they're still gonna need to move off Cat. But I think Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels, that Rudy Gobert, that length and size and defense that they built. They have the number 1 half court defense in the NBA. I think they have the number 1 defense overall. I'll have to check that. But they look incredible, and they look like the best team to match up with the Nuggets, because to match up with the Nuggets, you need size on Jamal Murray, which they have, and you need a roaming big to face Jokic. Rudy Gobert is back to being that. They, again, we'll see how Rudy Gobert plays in the postseason, because that's always the knock, is he gets exposed in the postseason. But especially for the regular season, and then moving forward, they look like a perfect match. It's going to be really fun. Interesting to see how it shapes up throughout their matchups during the regular season, and then I think the playoffs. They look great, and they look like they're going to finish top 3. The Suns have really disappointed. I mean, everybody watching this knows I wasn't a big fan of the trades that the Suns did. Them constructing their team around injury-prone players and aging players, and that's really been the story of the Suns so far. Devin Booker played 3 games, I think, this year. Bradley Bills missed multiple games due to back injury. Kevin Durant's at his age and with his injury history has had to put the load on his back and carry his team early on, and I think that's a bad foundation for later in the season. The wear and tear on his body, his age, and then the injuries. The Suns, it just looks like they're a team built on a sketchy foundation with injury prone. And then the West, the Thunder look great. Victor Wembanyama looks fantastic. He's had up and downs, but we're going to see that from a rookie. I think the West is really shaping up to be a Nuggets and Timberwolves, and then Mavericks. Those look like the 3 best teams in the West right now. The Lakers have really slipped. Austin Reeves has really taken a step back. I think being in a more featured role has really hurt him. And then the Suns, that history in my sense, the Suns. So the East, it's looking like the Celtics and the 76ers. And right now in the West, it looks like Nuggets, Mavericks, and Timberwolves as your best. Those are your top 5 best teams right now in the league. And I think my prediction is still Nuggets, Celtics, NBA Finals. I think that's it's a safe pick, chalk pick, but those look like the 2 best teams in the NBA. So again, the Nuggets, they look hungry. and that was the question. My question heading in was, how hungry were they going to be after winning the championship? Rest and start slow. They don't look one bit rusty. They don't look one bit tired. They look hungry, determined. And they look like they're ready for a dominant. So, thank you for watching. That was the Bench Warriors podcast. A little bit of a shorter episode this week, or tonight. You'll get another episode. I'm gonna do another episode this weekend. Kind of recap the weekend teams for the Nuggets, and then we'll head on to another steady schedule. Now that I got my camera working again, and then work's kind of settled down, we'll get back on a steady schedule. But as always, thank you for watching. Thank you for taking time out of your day to watch and support the channel, support me. Really appreciate it. Hit the like button, comment, leave comments. I'll have a conversation with you in the comment section. Subscribe, please. Share the videos, however you want to support the channel. I really appreciate it. Even if you don't want to listen, you just want to leave us playing. Give me view time. But anyway, thank you. I'll see you next.
Bench Warriors!